Whether you have a product for sale online, or you're just thinking about it, or you have a membership site online, or you're just thinking about it, wouldn't you like to have a nice, beautiful, well organized area here, a grid or a dashboard page inside of your WordPress sites? I'm going to show you how to do that today, because it's actually very simple, especially if your membership site is powered by WordPress, because then you can install a plugin called TablePress and customize it exactly the way I'm going to show you. I'm Robert Plank, and let's make some WordPress membership sites and dashboard pages. My website is at incomemachine.com, and we're going to install WordPress and a couple plugins. First of all, MemberGenius, which is the membership software that protects your site. Get that at incomemachine.com. And then a plugin called TablePress, where you can point and click the table, the grid, the multiple column dashboard to show your content. Next, we're going to add some content, even if it's just some empty blank posts. At least that way you can see what we're dealing with. You can always fill in your content later. Then add in the table using the free TablePress plugin. And then finally, some finishing touches to make the table look the way that we want. So first of all, let's start somewhere. We're going to install WordPress. If you already have WordPress installed, great. If not, it takes about 1 minute if you have cPanel and an icon called Click Install. Then we will install a plugin called MemberGenius, and finally the TablePress plugin. This is my test site, membershipnewbie.com. If you don't have a .com name and web hosting, you can get a .com name at doubleagentdomains.com, and then web hosting at doubleagenthosting.com. And the Income Machine course here shows you how to do all that if you're really a newbie. But we have membershipnewbie.com. I'm going to go to my website /cpanel. I'll log in. And so if you have a popular web host such as GoDaddy, HostGator, things like that, you have this control panel area. We scroll down, go to Quick Install, and then we will install WordPress, and then install WordPress again. So if you already have WordPress, no big deal. This just takes a second. We put in our address, put in the name of our site, put in the user. I like to use my first and last name, say install WordPress, and then we have a blog up and running. So this will get you caught up if you don't have a WordPress blog, but if you do, then great. Now I'm caught up to you. This is the website that it just created, membershipnewbie.com/members. It's given me a username and a password, so I'll grab that, paste it in, and we will log into this site. This is membershipnewbie.com/members. View the site, and it's just a default blank out of the box WordPress site. Let me change the theme real quick to 2012, so it looks real. Actually, let's do 2016. I haven't used that one yet. 2016 doesn't really matter what theme you have, just have something. So we're going to install this 2016 theme since I haven't checked it out yet. Visit the site. All right, that's the old one. 2016, click on activate, and now, gotta update WordPress. Fine, we've got the 2016 theme right here. So this is a WordPress site where you can add in content and stuff like that, but we want to protect our content, so we'll get a membership to incomemachine.com. So here's all the details of all the WordPress plugins and training you get. You choose which payment option you want. And now we've bought access, and we have all of this grid, and the place you want to go is to grab the MemberGenius plugin. So go to Tools, MemberGenius, right click and save this just to your desktop so that you can get to it easily later. Then at our test site, I'll go to my dashboard, and then Plugins, Add New, then Upload Plugin, and then choose the file I just saved to my desktop, which is that one. MemberGenius, install now, activate, and MemberGenius, register. There we go, save that information. And now we have enabled this MemberGenius plugin. Now what does this do? Well, right out of the box, we see that we have some membership content there. We can click on log out, and now that we're logged out, now we're always sent to this login screen. Okay, so now out of the box, now that completely protected our content. So far, so good. All right, so that took care of getting the WordPress site on there, getting MemberGenius to protect the content, and then the other plugin I want to add is the free one. Go to Plugins, Add New, and search TablePress, one word. And it's right there, the first one, the one with hundreds of thousands of installations. Click Install now. And give it a second. Installing. Activate that plugin, and that is what we'll use to point and click the grid, dashboard, table, whatever you want to call it. All right. Now we installed WordPress by going to cPanel, quick install. We got a membership to incomemachine.com and grabbed MemberGenius, and then finally installed TablePress, which is where we'll create a table and make a dashboard page. And then once we get that in place, we'll click on a special table icon and add in a thing called a shortcode in the post. And if a lot of those words went right over your head, that's okay. I'll show you. But we install WordPress, MemberGenius, and TablePress. Those are the three items that will get us to where we need to go. Next, the content. You can always fill in your own content later, but let's create a post called Module 1, Module 2, and Module 3, and these will be journal entries basically in your WordPress site. And if you know what a post or a page is, you can always change those over later, but for now, keep it simple, make some posts, and then create a dashboard page, which will be the front page of your site. Let me show you. Posts, Add New. Now this is Module 1, first module content. Now in MemberGenius, it says allow access to members only on the full level. Publish that. Next, add new. And we'll make module 2, second module. And click on publish for that one. Add new again. And then module 3, third and final module of my membership site. And then publish, and we're done. So if you don't like this 2015, like it puts the date in there, we can fix that really quick. We can go to settings, permalinks, and you might not have this problem, but I do. So click on, change this from month and name to just post name. So that's called a permalink. We need to change there. Save changes. Click on posts. Now we can see what we created. And if I click on, for example, module 3, well, great. That's more like what I want. The site /members /module 3. So we've created 3 posts here, module 1, 2, and 3, and we can view the site here. So we can see that it just kind of dumped these items in the posts here. So if we want to reverse the order of that, no big deal. Go to MemberGenius settings, and then we want to go to the post sort order and say oldest on top, newest on bottom. That way it goes from, as we add things, it just adds to the bottom of the page. Click Save Changes, visit the site again, and now we've got the Hello World post, which we can delete, but module 1, 2, and 3. Great. Now, like I said, if you are super advanced and fancy, if you'd rather have these as pages, we can just go to Plugins, Add New, and search for the Vice Versa plugin. And this is the one with thousands of installations. Install now. Activate the plugin. And then this is in Tools, Vice Versa. And if you wanted to make these, and so the difference between a post and a page is that a post has a date attached to it. Like you might update your blog on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then a page is just navigation, like an About Us page or a Contact Us page does not have a date. It's just navigation. Well, we can check all these and say, I want to convert these to a page. Click on Apply. And now it's converted to a page. And now if I go to posts, you see that I only have this hello world, which I can even delete. So I can have a site with no posts, but then I can click on pages, and now I have module 1, 2, and 3. Let's see what the site looks like because I'm curious. Nothing found, but then we would have a top navigation there, but let me switch to that 2012 theme after all. So I'm going to go add new theme. 2012, and install, activate to change the look and feel of our site again. So visit the site. Aha. So you see what this did? So a page is navigation at the top of your site. So if we go to the front page, there's nothing here because this is just the latest journal entries, the posts. But then what we did here is we kind of made this, and I kind of like this better. We made these pages which are navigation in our site. So we can still put in videos and content and stuff, but they are just entries without any kind of date in them. All right, so we've made modules 1, 2, and 3, and there's one final step is to create a front page of our site because now you see we don't want this, no post display. We want to show something here. We can go to New Page and then say, call this dashboard, and then we can link to our other content. So for now, I will link directly to my other pages, and then I can rearrange it later. So I'll just go insert link, module 1. Guess that they make me type it in there. Then we can insert link, module 2, type it in there. Insert link, module 3, and type in the text there as well. So we publish that, and that has created the content. There's one final step because if you look at this, well, we've added this dashboard page, but people need to click on it to actually know to get there. How do we make the dashboard page the front page of our membership site? Glad you asked. Go to dashboard, go to settings, reading, and instead of this front page displaying your latest post, make it a static page and dashboard. So this sets the dashboard page as the front page of our site. Click Save Changes, go to visit the site. All right, now we're getting somewhere, right? Now when someone goes to the home page, the only way they can really get to the modules are to navigate through this. So now we're kind of getting somewhere. So to recap, what we did in this step is that we created posts or pages called module 1, 2, or 3, made them go, change the order so they go top to bottom. And I decided that I prefer to have the navigation at the top, so I use the vice versa plugin to convert them from posts to pages. A post is a journal entry that has a time and date on it. A page has no time and date on it. It's just the navigation of your site. So I just made pages instead. And then we create a dashboard page, which is the front page of my site, and then I manually linked to the 3 modules, and that's the way I can link to modules, videos, reports, and kind of mix and match there. That's what we did so far. And then I want to make the table. So I'm going to go to the TablePress area and say New Table, and it's going to ask me for the name of my table and then how many rows and columns to make it. So the way I remember rows and columns, I remember like a column is like Greek columns, right? They're the things that go, downwards, and then a row are the things that go across. So we have 3 modules, so just keep it simple. Let's make our grid 2 by 2. All right, so we're going to tell it we want 2 columns. So we have 1, 2 columns, and then we're going to have 2 rows, 1, 2 rows. That's what we're going to do. Usually just 2 or 3 columns are fine. You don't need to make, 5 or 10 columns. You can add, delete later, see how it looks with or without your sidebar, stuff like that. The thing to remember about TablePress and making a new table is that you're going to want to uncheck all the boxes they allow you to uncheck in the settings for that individual table. You'll see what I mean in a second, but we don't want to have, header rows. We don't want them to be able to sort the row. Just show just the freaking dang table. Then we already have linked to each page and post, but we're going to put those links right there in the cells of the table, and then we're going to change the table ID. I think it'll make our table be like table number 1. We're going to change the name to the name dashboard. That way we know what the heck we just created. So let's do that. We already have this site modules dashboard page. We want to put a table here. So we go back to our dashboard, and we already had installed the TablePress plugin. So it's here inside of our TablePress. So click on TablePress. There's no tables right here, but we want to add a new table. And the name for this is dashboard. Not board as in I'm bored, but dashboard, okay? And we'll make this 2 rows and 2 columns. Rows are the ones that go, down, and then columns are the ones that are across. All right. So we add table 2 by 2, and then there's all kinds of stuff. So let me explain this. This table, so like you don't need to do a description, any of that stuff, but the table content, this is where you're going to have the boxes in your table, okay? And then down in table options, this is where you want to uncheck all the fancy. So don't want to highlight a row or any of that stuff. So uncheck all the boxes here, and let's just save this just to know what we're dealing with. So we got 2 by 2 row, and if we ever want to add in, so we see we can like add in extra columns later, but let me go and delete those. All right, we're just going to make a 2 by 2 table, and we'll say this is module 1, this is module 2, this is module 3, and then this is a bonus. Okay, and so this just has the text there, but we really want to have a link to each thing. Okay, so let me create a link. So what we can do is click on this insert link, and then it's going to tell us to click in the actual box. So I want to put a link here, and this pops up. Link to module 1, and type in module 1 or whatever text you want, and it puts the fancy HTML code there. Insert link, click in the box, and again, module 2, and then insert a link, click in the box you want, module 3, type in module 3 there, and then if we're going to put the bonus in here later, let's leave it blank for now, but we can do that later. All right, so we will save the changes. And then what did we say we were going to do? Well, we said that we don't like this table ID 1, like words are easier to remember than numbers. So let's change the 1 to dashboard. Click Save Changes. It'll complain to us, and then Save Changes again. Great. So we have to click on Save Changes twice, but now we end up with table ID equals dashboard. I like that a lot better than a stupid number. So what we just did again was that we went to TablePress, which was the plugin we installed when we were installing the plugins. We chose to have 2 rows and then 2 columns. Then we unchecked all the fanciness, clicked on Insert Link, and clicked on each individual box to link to our individual pages. But if you have posts, I mean, no big deal. Those will be in that option as well. You can just choose what you want to link to. Then we changed the table ID from a number to dashboard. Moving right along, in a second we will be editing the pages, edit the dashboard page, and there will be a table looking icon above the page contents we're editing. You click on that and it will show you a list of the tables you created in TablePress. It'll be easy to find because we only created one single table. Be sure to save, and then finally the only tricky part, I promise, is to set the columns to an equal width. And so the place to do this is TablePress plugin options, and they will be a special text box to fill in CSS information. This is just formatting information, and then we're going to tell it that we want to have the columns of our table we created to be, in this case, 50%. Okay, and so what this means is we made a table and it was 2 rows and 2 columns, right? And so if we have 2 columns, we want to have the first column 50%, the next column 50%. But in your case, just to make sure that you understand how to expand this later, if you make, for example, 3 columns, well, how would you make these be equal distance apart? 33%, 33%, 33%. And if you had a 4 column table, what would you do? 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Doesn't matter how many rows you have, but just to make sure that the columns are an equal width apart, you're going to make sure that we just take 100% and then divide by the number of columns in our table. Let's get to it. I'm excited. I hope you are too. As we said in our instructions, where we go to Pages and edit the dashboard page, which we see as our front page. And in the past, we linked to our different pages, and that's fine to get started, but now it's time to take the training wheels off. Delete all that, and we're looking for a table icon, and here it is. It's hiding there at the bottom. It's a little, I don't know, there's a grid in there. You hover over it, it says Insert a Table from TablePress. So left click on that, it pops this up, and here's the only table in here. And the only thing we can do with this table is say insert shortcode. So click on that button, and what did this do? It said table ID equals dashboard. And we can get away with having the only thing on here. But I mean, if we wanted to add like, register for your coaching call above that or anything, we can always add things above or below. But I will click update to see what we're dealing with. Click view page. And so now we can kind of see that we've got these different links to different things here. So this is a good start, but there are a couple things that I don't like. And don't worry about these edit links, only you can see them. And if you don't believe me, you can make a test user by going to Member Genius Members, have that user log into your site, and you can see that the edit links are only visible to you. But I mean, we don't really have time for that. But what we do have time to do is to make, see, it's like these are lump-sided, right? And we want to make this be 50%, 50%, and make these all centered. Well, how do we do that? Well, we said the place to do that is to go to TablePress and then plug in options. All right, so we need to have some CSS, and give me a second to make sure I got this right. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna right click and do inspect, and I'm looking for this table ID equals TablePress dash dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my custom CSS and do a # TablePress dash dashboard. Put in these curly brackets, braces. I don't know the difference. And so the first thing we want to do is make these centered. So let me just type in text dash align center semicolon, and I'll save those changes and then go back and reload the site. So that didn't quite work, but I think we need to say TD to make sure it applies that to a table cell. That did it. Okay, so we had to say pound TablePress dash dashboard TD to apply this to the actual cell. So now we're kind of getting somewhere, and I want to make sure that these columns are the same distance apart. So then we'll say width colon 50% semicolon. All right, save changes, reload the page again, and see there was a little bit of a shift, but now let's make sure that these are lined up exactly right. And then finally, the other thing I want is I kind of want to have a grid around the whole thing. It looks like they just did it to separate the rows. So I'll right click and inspect and cheat a little bit, and I'll say see if this border top 0. I think I want to say this thing, all this border stuff. So I'll highlight, right click and copy, go to the plugin options, and paste in that. So we want to say border is around every single table cell. Save changes, reload. Aha, there we go. So I just right clicked and did an inspect, and I'm sorry if it was a little too crazy, but I was looking around and found the border and just grabbed this line of CSS code and took out the top, so that way we say now that for every cell in this TablePress table named dashboard, we'll center everything, we'll make the columns 50% wide, and then we'll have a border, and this is a very light gray shade of color right there. And now that gives us the dashboard table. So now you kind of have the best of both worlds. If you consider yourself a somewhat advanced user, you can see the steps I took to right click and inspect the code and grab what I needed. If you don't know CSS at all, then just copy down and take down very carefully the CSS that I added here. Just hyphen TablePress dash dashboard space TD. Just make sure that it puts it in the table cell. Curly braces or brackets, and then text dash align center semicolon width colon 50% semicolon border colon 1px solid, and then this pound ed semicolon. This is just what I grabbed from the existing CSS code there. And then there we go. So the only tricky parts were just if you want to have that border around the table, you had to go into the guts a little bit. And then if your table is 3 columns, you just, instead of putting 50% where I did, you make that 33% or 25%. And I mean, if you want to make additional tables, you just kind of follow the same steps I did there. Was you go to TablePress, add new, call it whatever, like, I might have links to other things and call it like resources, for example, and then I might make that 5 columns. And then I go in and make sure to uncheck all the formatting, put in my my content, add to the page, and then I would put, if I had named the ID dashboard, I would say TablePress dash resources TD, and then put in the, for example, width 20% if it's 5 columns, and put in this other stuff as well. But just to keep it simple, let's just stick with that one single table in our dashboard page using TablePress. And a couple of last minute tweaks. So if we wanted to get rid of the sidebar, you click on Edit Page and then look for Template, and many themes have, they might say like no sidebar or no column or wide or full width, and it depends on your theme, but we can update that page. And now we see, okay, great, now there's no sidebar. Now we can completely control what we link to. If you don't like this top menu here, well, we can take care of that as well. We can go to our appearance menus, and I think you might be able to make an empty menu. Let me just delete all this stuff. Go to pop out each of these ones here and say remove, 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 and remove. We'll name this main menu. Click create menu. And cool, let us make an empty menu. Go to manage locations and set the primary menu to main menu. Click save changes. Visit the site. Now the navigation is gone as well. And if we wanted to add navigation back in, that's easy too. We just go back to the menus, and then we're editing the main menu here, and we can just say, I want to link to modules 1, 2, and 3, but not the sample page. Click add to menu, rearrange these, so now we're linking to module 1, 2, and 3. Click save menu, go back and visit the site, and now we're getting somewhere. Now we have a membership site. We link to the modules at the top, and we link to the modules in our dashboard page. And once we click in through the modules, because this individual module was set, if we edit the page, the template, we left it alone to the default template. Now these individual pages will keep the sidebar in view. So we can always go back and click around to either module 1, module 2, module 3. Now I'm realizing I want to have like a link back to home. No big deal. Go back to the menus, and we want to say link to the dashboard page, add to menu, drag it to the top, and then pop this out and say this will be the link to go home. Great. Save menu, visit the site. Now we're at home. Now we can click over to these different modules. We can click back to home. We can click in the individual links and more. And before we wrap this up, one final thing. If you want to make the text bigger in this table, since I'm sure you might be wondering about that, we go back to our dashboard, go back to TablePress, go back to plugin options, go and find this dashboard TD and say font dash size colon, let's make it 14 pixels, and font dash weight colon, let's make it bold and see how that looks. Click save changes, visit the site. And so this is one situation where it helps to know a little CSS, because you can see now we made it look this way. And you can do that same thing to change the colors. If I want to have a blue link instead, I'll do that. I'll go to the dashboard, go to TablePress plugin options, and I can say color colon blue semicolon, save the changes. Whoops, visit the site. I think we might need to make that a link. Whoops, sorry about that. We can say dashboard TablePress plugin options. We want to make the links be blue. So I'm going to say TablePress dashboard TDA. So inside of a table cell and a link, we'll make that color blue. Save changes. Reload the page. There we go. Now the links inside of the dashboard are blue, but if we had other text below this or things like that, then those would remain to be gray. And so, I mean, that you can have a lot of fun with this because you can have, sub links, basically sub content, and have smaller links underneath the module one. You can have a video in this box. You can have image like a cute icon like from iconfinder.com on each of these modules and more. But the way to do that is to install WordPress, MemberGenius, and TablePress, add your contents, add the table and rearrange the structure you want. TablePress is cool because you can add or delete columns or rows, drag and rearrange, then add the finishing touches, add to the dashboard page, and then edit the CSS depending on how many columns you want. So I'm Robert Plank. Go to incomemachine.com and grab your copy of MemberGenius to set up your first or next membership site and have a beautiful, convenient, customizable dashboard page using the TablePress plugin. Thanks for watching.